I've been smoking for years, and I always get a kick out of when people try to recommend alternative things to use when you don't have like a glass piece to use. They're like, yeah, bro, just smoke out of some plastic bottle with tinfoil and you're going to get super lit. And while I don't smoke a lot of joints, or I don't use a lot of papers or roll up anything like that, I always find it funny when they recommend paper alternatives because they're actually just as wild as smoking out of a plastic bottle. Today we're going to talk about the 11 weirdest things that people roll up with, and I actually have a bonus thing at the end, so stick around for the end. Yes, that means it's a list of 12 things, but I called it 11. Deal with it. So some of these I've done, some of these I've seen people do or recommend, and some of these I will never ever try. You couldn't get me to do it. The first one on the list, and I've talked about this a little bit before, but banana peels. People roll up with banana peels, like the outer layer, that little yellow part. They get all the white mushy fruit part out of the inside. Some people will bake it to dry it out, you know, get rid of that moisture so it burns a little better. But they're rolling up with banana peels. I did make a video not too long ago about people back in the day, I think it was in the 60s, smoking bananas. They would like dry their bananas out and then smoke the actual banana, and they would claim it would get them high, but it didn't. It didn't get them high. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I'm never going to try the banana smoking, but some people are rolling up with banana peels, and it's kind of like a popular trend on TikTok. I see it come and go. Yeah, bro, just roll up with the peel. Number 2 on the list, I've always thought this was funny, but rose petals or flower petals. Now, you kind of have to dry them out a little bit. Just plucking them fresh off of a flower is not going to give you like the best results. Same with like trying to smoke your bud. You pull it fresh off the plant, it's not going to give you the best results. But some people will dry them out, you know, slowly, or use like an oven or something to dry them out and roll their flower in. Like rose petals is the most common, but I've seen people use other types of flower petals. And also some people just put flowers in their bowl. I actually, at one point, I don't know how many times, but there was a handful of sessions where I convinced myself I wanted to put lavender in with whatever mids I was smoking at the time. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's making it better. It made it worse. Doo-doo mids plus doo-doo lavender didn't do it for me. Next one on the list I've seen is tissue paper. Not like a Kleenex or the ones you sneeze into, but the kind you wrap presents with. The kind you put in like gift bags and stuff. That's like really, really thin paper. Tears really easily. So I think that's why people would recommend it for like a joint or something, because you're not using like a thick piece of paper. But many, many times have I seen people say, oh, bro, you don't have any joint papers? Just buzz out the tissue paper like you're ready to do a gift wrapping session. You don't have 50 papers for 99 cents from the gas station. Another wild thing I've seen people recommend to use to roll up with is gum wrappers. Now, not the kind with like foil and stuff on them, but like some of them are just little pieces of paper. Maybe they're all white. Maybe they have a little logo on it, but they are kind of small, right? If you're rolling up with the little gum wrapper, you're not getting like a fatty out of that. It's going to be minty fresh, but it's not going to be huge. Number 5 on the list, I don't know if I'm actually numbering these right, but this one is wild to me. Have you ever seen anybody smoke out of a corn husk? You know, like the thing that comes off of corn, they wrap tamales in them, bro. You ever seen somebody smoking on that tamale pack? Bro, tell me how when I lived in Colorado, like every 7 miles, no matter where you were, anywhere in Colorado, somebody was on the side of the road selling tamales. Tell me why. Little did I know I could have pulled the corn husk off the tamale and rolled several joints. Number 6 is probably an obvious one, but like empty cigarettes. People will dump out the tobacco or whatever. Hopefully they throw it away and they're not thinking about doing spliffs or mobiles or any nasty stuff like that. But you could just tap out all the flower from a cigarette or tap out all the tobacco from a cigarette and put your flower in there. That's probably like super discreet in public. Oh, look, he's just smoking a cigarette over there. Smells like weed. Probably discreet. I don't know. Number 7 on the list. I did make a video about this. It's called Is Smoking Out of Bible Papers a Sin? Which I still don't know, right? Bible papers is kind of wild because that's another like super thin paper, like tissue paper. I think you could probably get a similar result with like dictionary pages or something like that. But the Bible papers are like super thin, and like any big book has like a bunch of empty pages. So you could probably use those, right? You're not smoking the word if there's no words on the page. I don't know. You'll never catch me smoking with Bible papers. Number 8 on the list I've seen somebody do is kind of wild, but a brown paper bag, you know, like the one you bring your lunch to work in. You just bust out your sandwich and your crackers or whatever, and then you just start ripping off sheets so you can smoke a few doobies before you go back to work. It seems wild. Have you ever seen anybody smoke out of a brown paper bag or rolling up with the paper? It's not as thin as some of the other ones, but it's paper. Dude, I wrote corn husk on my list twice. It was number 5 and number 9. Number 10, coffee filters. Coffee filters are like really thin. I use them for like a lot of stuff. One of the things that I can think of offhand is whenever I'm eating cherries and they have like a bunch of pits, I don't know, I spit them into like a coffee filter. It's like I can hold it, it like keeps a shape, and then I can just throw it away when I'm done, and like I didn't get anything else dirty. It's just a coffee filter. Some people are ripping those up and smoking at them. Like hemp and regular rolling papers are made to be slow burning, but the stuff that isn't made to be could just burst into flames when you go to hit it. Like, I don't know. Number 11 on the list is pretty wild. I saw somebody do this one time, but parchment paper, like when you're making concentrates, they press some rosin. They got a bunch of it on parchment paper. They got most of it off, right? Gathering up all the rosin from the press. But there was like a little bit of wax left on the parchment paper, and they just rolled it up and smoked it. I'm like, you could have used something else. Kind of wild. I'm not smoking off of parchment paper. I thought it was pretty crazy, but if you're out here pressing rosin, like, you're not doing that, right? You got the cleanest material you can dab, solventless concentrate. Say, hey, let me add a little parchment paper to this. I'm not trying it. Well, that was supposed to be number 11, but it was only 10. I wrote down corn husk twice. Remember the tamales one? Remember the tamale pack joke? Who's smoking on the tamale pack? I guess it's time for the bonus. And before I tell you the bonus one, I just have to remind you, you can join me any night on Twitch for a smoke sesh. I go live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tune in, take a couple of hits, have a few laughs, and link your Amazon Prime so you can give me Jeff Bezos' money. All right, without further ado, the bonus one, the real number 11 on the list, all right? Here's the real number 11. People wrap their weed with tobacco leaves. Bro, have you heard of blunt smokers?